Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sensei Kevlar. Let's take a look at some Ethereum versus the dollar. It's back up at 736 already. I'm just going to bring in the historical support way back in, what is this, July here. Find our top back in, looks like January, end of December. Looks like we're middle of the market. Looking pretty good there. Seems like a good time for a straddle to me. I'd say we definitely have lots of room to run, and we could definitely come down a bit. Looking at other support and resistance, we definitely have opportunities above and below us. And I think we can take a real run at this. So let's see what a straddle might look like. I'm just going to copy a few numbers out here from our analysis, and we'll use them in making our plan. Doing a little bit more analysis, we can see that the market has definitely shown a new bottom here at 370, right above, right below 400. And it's come down here, and it's definitely tried to go below 400 again. So I don't foresee it doing that anytime soon. And if it does end up coming down here to 400, we can reevaluate our strategy then. So I'm going to bring that low up to 400. And as far as what we've seen recently, we've definitely seen it go as high as 1,000 recently. But I don't think it's going to do that in the next a couple of days here, so I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with my straddle in terms of trying to take advantage of this market motion that we're seeing right here. I'm going to bet that it's probably going to go close to 1,000 and before it turns around, and definitely leave myself a lot of room for if it continues to do that nice run there. But I am going to try and optimize for the situation where it does come up to 1,000, and that's where I'm going to make the most money right here. So I'm going to bring that high back down to 1,000. I'm going to try and optimize my straddle for that price range right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to one of my corporate accounts in TraderPlan. I'm going to add that straddle. And according to the analysis that I just made, I'm going to target. You can see that TraderPlan has already taken a pretty good guess at what it is that I'm wanting. Given us a default of 1,100 for the high and a default of 367 for the low. I'm just going to adjust those to really actually fit our analysis. So we say 8,400 to bring the low to 400, and 15,1,000 to bring the high to $1,000. What that does is that tells us that our current target is 44% if we were to use a linear allocation. Now, a linear allocation is fine if you assume that, this is basically the run that you want to make, and what you want to do is you want to see a sideways market. And you just want to be trading within the sideways market, and your allocation doesn't matter over the long run. If you are planning to do a longer term allocation, like I might be doing here, I might be planning to be doing a lot of buying all the way down to 400, or a lot of selling all the way up to 1,000 in the straddle as I've programmed it. What I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to assign a larger scale range to a more aggressive scale range to the straddle in order to ensure that I'm keeping all of my allocation ready for down here, and I'm being very sparse about my selling moving up. If for some reason this does make a nice motion up, what I can do later is I can come back and I can adjust that to ensure that I'm doing more selling out here if I feel like this is a good motion to move in. But I should be, making a lot of the aggressive motions closer to down here rather than up here. So that's what the scale does, is it scales how aggressive your straddle is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that scale mode, and I'm going to say change that to a medium scale mode. And what that does, that makes my current target significantly less. So a couple other adjustments I want to make here is I want to turn on my trailing stops. Trailing stops are something that You know, these exchanges for the large part just don't offer, but TraderPlan does, so I definitely want to be taking advantage of those. And then I want to activate the strategy to make sure that it goes ahead and puts me into distribution. And it's presently targeting holding only 14 Ether compared to the 48 that I presently have. So I'm going to be doing some selling here in order to take advantage of this motion upward, since I definitely did do a lot of the buying of my Ether on this motion down right here. It's okay to go ahead and be doing that and taking advantage of that, setting myself up for this motion downward in case it does happen, and I get to do a lot of buying in case the price does come down, but still holding on to some of my Ether in case the market goes flying up and can make me some more money. So let's go ahead and enable that, and we'll see how it does. So what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and put me into distribution, as it says the current mode is. And when it does that, I can expect the trailing stops to activate. And as soon as we see the trailing stops activate, eventually, you know, they'll start trailing the price up in this case in order to get me a better price. And then when the price comes back down a little bit, it will go ahead and activate the order for me. And then we'll be making the money. And then if it does see the market come back down, it'll go ahead and put it back into allocation mode. And it will be buying back in as the market comes down, all the way down to $400, at which point it will have bought about $60,000 worth of Ether. So we'll come back to that at a later time, and we'll see what happens. This is Sensei Kevlar reminding you to plan the trade and trade the plan. Goodbye for now.